Hey friends, welcome to Bing Talks. Are you a fan of cold weapon? If yes, I bet you know more or less about Japanese sword, right? However, why is Chinese sword much less famous than Japanese sword? Although China and Japan are close neighbors with somewhat similar cultures, I've got 5 reasons here. A quick spoiler, it isn't the performance. Reason 1. Japanese swords are more recognizable while Chinese swords are less. Yeah, I know there are different Japanese swords like katana, tachi, wakizashi. But style-wise, they are quite standardized swords. Perhaps the biggest difference is their length. Let me give you some example here. Can you spot roughly when were the swords made? The answers are: the time they were made differs more than 300 years, but they are still quite similar. Unless you are a pro, you wouldn't be able to tell the differences, and that's what I call recognizability. On the other hand, let's take a look at Chinese swords. Can you tell when they were made then? Actually, let me tell you, they're all swords made in Qing Dynasty. This is where the problem is. Chinese swords come in various shapes and styles that are less standardized, even in the same time period. So if you were to ask a bunch of Japanese how their swords look like, their answers will be roughly the same. However, if you were to ask a bunch of Chinese, they will ask you first, from which dynasty? Reason 2. There are way more antique Japanese swords preserved till today, while not so many antique Chinese swords. The biggest problem with Chinese swords is that there aren't enough antique swords now. However, the same isn't true for Japanese swords. Historically, Japanese swords were mass-produced. Until World War II, Japanese officers generally carried swords, and many senior officers even had their own ancestral swords. Lots of them were taken to America as loots after the surrender of Japanese. In terms of Chinese swords, situations are quite different. According to statistics, the number of swords manufactured prior to the formation of the Republic of China preserved to today is only around 100,000. Among them, there are only about 20,000 with complete parts, and the high-quality ones are rare. The swords that survived are mainly from the Qing Dynasty. Representatives of ancient Chinese swords are Tang Dao and Han Huanshou Dao, aka ring-handled sword. The problem is that there are very few of them left. Not a single complete Tang Dao has ever been uncovered in China. Now, the Tang Dao that people talk about is actually based on sword collected at Shosoin in Japan. There is a ring-handled sword of Emperor Ling of Han with a gold handle that is kept in Chinese National Museum. The problem with the ring-handled sword is similar. It's made of iron, and iron products are difficult to preserve because of rust, not to mention the blade's luster and patterns that has completely rusted into a black iron strip. Reason 3. Japanese culture influence is bigger than that of Chinese. Japan is well known for its world-leading anime industry, with the most popular anime series like Naruto, Bleach, One Piece, almost all feature Japanese swords. As Japanese anime becomes increasingly popular, so is Japanese swords. Besides anime, there are also movies. In the 1950s and 1960s, Kurosawa Akira's series of samurai films became very popular and had a huge impact internationally. The most famous ones are Seven Samurai, Yojimbo, Sanjuro, Shadow Warrior, etc. The characters in those movies all use Japanese swords. There are less number of Chinese movies that are famous in the West. And if you take a look at them, for example, Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, you'll find that there are dozens of different weapons used in that one movie alone, unlike the unified weapon in Japanese movie I just mentioned. Except for anime and movie, Japanese video games also plays an indispensable role in promoting Japanese culture and swords. To list some popular ones, Sekiro, Ghost of Tsushima, etc. China, however, doesn't have many popular games played across the world, let alone games that promote historic Chinese swords. Reason 4. Japanese swords are the symbol of samurai class. However, Chinese warrior class has long gone extinct in history. Samurai played an important role in Japan history. Initially, they were the warriors that served their leaders. Then the era changed. Samurai themselves have gained power and ruled the Japan islands for hundreds of years. Their spirits are symbolized by their swords, thus the swords could be famous. Contrary to Japan, at the end of the Tang Dynasty, China was in chaos, and aristocratic warriors were wiped out in the end. The ruler of Song Dynasty learned from the lesson and fundamentally eliminated the military class. Soon the literati and scholars became the new aristocracy. Reason 5. Japanese martial arts focus more on weapon, while Chinese martial arts focus more on internal body training. There is a big difference between martial arts of China and Japan. Japanese martial artists rely more on weapons, which obviously include Japanese sword. They have numerous schools of kenjutsu, meaning arts of the sword, that have been passed down for hundreds of years. Coming to the modern world, they realized that the swords are no longer useful in war, but kenjutsu didn't die out. There are lots of people practice the techniques of Japanese sword even to today. On contrast, Chinese martial arts practitioners rely more on bare hand training, as can be easily seen from kung fu movies of Jet Li or Jackie Chan. Furthermore, there is a term, 18般兵器, meaning 18 arms of wushu. These weapons also need to be practiced by Chinese martial artists, not limited to a certain weapon, but rather focused on the general techniques and skills. And there you go, guys. Those are the 5 reasons I believe to be the answer of why Chinese sword isn't as famous as Japanese sword. Thank you for watching, and I hope you like this video. Please like, share, and subscribe if you haven't. By the way, why not check out my other videos if you aren't in a rush? See you in the next one. Bye.